Continuing from the previous episode 1075. I don't know why, but this last day passed so slowly. At this time, the Burning Incense Pavilion was on high alert, because they all knew that tomorrow, the Xuanling royal family Demon Extermination Ceremony would decide the real life and death. Fenxiang Pavilion wins, so it is easy to say, if it loses, I am afraid not to mention Fenxiang Pavilion, even if it is the entire Zan Santian, it will be completely bloodbathed by the Xuanling royal family. What are you doing? I'm very worried. At this time, Xiao Yan was standing in the Wuju residence alone, not knowing what to do. At that time, Qinxin slowly walked into it and thought about something. Nothing, just suddenly remembered something sad. Xiao Yan greeted Qinxin with a smile when he saw Qinxin coming. Alas, it's rare for our hero who burns incense to be so worried. It's really rare, Qinxin said with a smile. Okay, don't make fun of me. What are you looking for from me? Xiao Yan also seemed to have sensed the unspeakable hidden under Qinxin's smiling face and said, I'm looking for you, I really have something to do, but... Qinxin looked around and said, En? Xiao Yan became quite curious when he heard this. You know, I'm not from your Xuanling continent. After a while, Qinxin also said, Well, so? Xiao Yan seemed to have expected this scene long ago and asked. Oh, forget it. If there is a chance in the future, you can come to Douyin continent, where I can help you. Qinxin said, Douyin continent, the largest continent among the 4 continents of Emperor Dou. If there is a chance in the future, I must go. Xiao Yan said with a smile. If that's the case, then don't bother. Qinxin finished speaking and left. This girl is not easy on her body. Although his strength is mediocre, there are some fluctuations in his body, which is really scary. After Qinxin left, the Soul Eater in Xiao Yan said, She should have something to hide. Xiao Yan looked at Qinxin's leaving back and wondered. When this is over, follow me to the ghost world first. Wait until your strength reaches Dou Xian before going to Douyin continent. Otherwise, with your current strength, it's probably no different from dying. And the background behind this Nizi is not small. We may need her power in the future. Lord of Soul Eater Zaidu said. When Xiao Yan heard the words, he also walked towards Zhu Jin's enough. Princess, why didn't you tell me? When Qinxin returned to her room, a mysterious figure appeared and asked Qinxin. Forget it, Xiao Yan's affairs will be discussed later. Let's take care of the Xuanling continent for now. Qinxin finished speaking and calmed down. Shabu Shabu. At this time, in the originally peaceful Burning Heaven territory, some uninvited guests came. The half-immortal snake of the Medusa family. The snake-shaped scepter in Shefu's hand slowly lit the void, and went directly to the wooden house where Zhu Jin lived. Little did he know that Xiao Yan followed closely behind, and Xiao Yan listened to their conversation without a word. Old snake, why do you want to come here in such a hurry? Zhu Jin and Shefu can also be regarded as old friends. Zhu Jin laughed when he saw Shefu. Old Zhu, something big has happened. Shefu just swept away into the Zhu Cinder's wooden house, and even the connection world was not arranged, and he said with a haggard expression. Did something big happen? Could it be Kaylin? At this time, Xiao Yan was already standing outside the wooden house, but he didn't push the door in. What's the big deal? When Zhu Jin heard the words, his smile slowly disappeared. He rarely saw Shefu showing such an expression. Do you have a disciple named Mu Yingying in your Burning Incense Pavilion, and she still has the power of Holy Flame? Shefu asked. Yes. And when Zhu Jin heard the words, his face turned ashen. Mu Yingying didn't leave with Xiao Yan. Why is it now? A feeling of something bad came into my mind. She was caught. Shefu said slightly with a pale face. What? Zhu Jin heard the words, the previous calmness disappeared, replaced by a heavy touch. Mu Yingying, like Yan Kai, is a human being converted from Holy Flame. If she is caught, once the source of Holy Flame is damaged, it is very likely that her life will be endangered. Caught by King Xuanling. After a while, Shefu Zaidu added, quote. In the entire wooden house, there was a dead silence, no one thought about it. How could it be possible? When Xiao Yan outside the door heard the words, an icy feeling spread throughout his body, and a sense of self-blame welled up in his heart. When Xiao Yan had just returned to the Medusa clan's territory, in order to distance himself from Mu Yingying, Xiao Yan told her that Kaylin was his wife. Hearing that Mu Yingying was captured by King Xuanling, a self-blame flooded into Xiao Yan's heart. Yanqi, Mu Yingying is in the hands of King Xuanling, now I'm in trouble. However, the Xuanling royal family colluded with the evil races outside the territory. Even if holy flames emerged, they couldn't swallow them up. Why did they collect holy flames like this? Zhu Jin was shocked for a while, then calmed down and began to think about a solution. Even if the two of them were sacred flames and turned into human figures, if the truth were that simple, I wouldn't have come to ask you for help. Our Medusa clan's patrol guards found traces of the Queen and Mu Yingying on the edge of the Desert of Death. If not as I expected, the Queen and Mu Yingying should have both been captured by King Xuanling. And the reason why King Xuanling did this is probably related to an ancient book I read before. The power of the blood of the 10-colored sky-swallowing python is really cold, and it is the best choice for swallowing the holy flame. With its blood, it can greatly reduce the power of the holy flame. The next moment, a shocking sky and man the information came out from Shefu's mouth. This Xuanling king has a lot of ambition. You actually want to use the power of Medusa to devour the two holy flames? Hearing Shefu finish speaking, a shock surged in Zhu Jin's heart. No matter what King Xuanling wants to do now, I'm afraid it's a big deal to rescue the Queen and Duo Shengen. Shefu said, tomorrow is the Demon Extermination Ceremony. I'm afraid it's too late. Zhu Jin heard that and seemed to notice something creaked. And before Zhu Jin and Shefu were talking, a dull voice sounded outside the door. Kai Lin was also arrested? Xiao Yan stood blankly on the spot, looking bewildered and said at a loss. Xiao Yan? When Shefu saw Xiao Yan for the first time, he knew something was wrong. With Shefu's sophistication, it is natural to know that Xiao Yan is the husband of Queen Medusa, and Mu Yingying and Xiao Yan are not too close. If the two are caught like this, Xiao Yan will definitely be the first. Senior Shefu, is what you said true? Xiao Yan asked dumbly. The anger in his heart was already unforgivable. Xiao Yan, we will take care of these things. You don't have to blame yourself too much. Zhu Jin also knew that too much explanation at this time would not help, so he comforted. Kai Lin is my wife, and Mu Yingying is my partner. Tomorrow, I will go to Xuanling Mountain. Even if I fight for the last trace of my soul, I will definitely make King Xuanling pay the price. Xiao Yan left a vicious sentence and disappeared here, leaving only Zhu Jin and Shefu. Hey, this little guy. Zhu Jin and Shefu looked at each other with a hint of pain in their eyes. Go back first, tomorrow is the time for the decisive battle. Zhu Jin said instantly, then turned around to do other things. And under this calm, it started with a shocking battle. Continuing from the previous episode 1076. The next day, when the sun scatters over the earth, a new day officially begins. This day was the day when the Xuanling royal family invited the leaders of the various super sects in Xuanshan to go to Xuanling Mountain to kill the evil people from outside the realm. Many strong people are also suspicious, but they don't know if this is a feast or a disaster. Inside the burning incense pavilion, a black army was lined up neatly. Everyone in the army had an extremely heavy face, and they all knew that this trip was dangerous. In this army, there are not only the disciples of the Fenxiang Pavilion, but even the elders and some powerful people. In addition to the three powerhouses of the other poison sect, the Wanhua Pavilion and the Medusa family, it can be said that they are truly the strong army. This time, I will take the lead. Fentian secretly assist, Wanhua Pavilion and Medusa assist. Only success is allowed, not failure. The sect master of the poison sect stood at the front of the team and opened his mouth slightly. Obviously Fentian didn't show up, which was quite a blow to the morale of these disciples. It wasn't enough for the poison sect master to name Fentian to hide in secret, which undoubtedly gave these disciples a reassurance. Xuanling Mountain does not allow outsiders to enter. After a while, the coalition forces will stay outside Xuanling Mountain and listen to my orders. As for other high-level executives, first go to Xuanling Mountain to see what King Xuanling is up to. Do you understand? The poison sect master said domineeringly. Clear. Clear. Understood. One of the coalition forces responded aggressively. Now that you're ready, let's go. The poison sect master glanced at him with satisfaction, and then his figure flashed directly and walked away in the direction of Xuanling Mountain. In the Xuanling royal family. How are things going? King Xuanling, who was on the throne, asked Wen Zi, who was beside him. Report to my king. Everything has been prepared. Wenzi also said with a smile, if this time the matter is successful, his Wenzi will be one person below 10,000 people. Then let's go. It's time for us to go out to welcome the guests. After King Xuanling finished speaking, the corner of his mouth smiled evilly, and the smile was full of evil intentions. As for the other major super sects, their leaders also rushed towards Xuanling Mountain slowly, but the 8 sects of the Demon Slayer Alliance that were promised before, now there are only 4 sects left, including the Medusa clan. Xuanling Mountain. Since ancient times, this has been the place where the emperors of the Xuanling royal family ascended the throne and worshipped, so the important events of the Xuanling royal family in all dynasties will be held here. There are hundreds of stairs at the bottom of Xuanling Mountain, but at the top is a huge black altar. On this day, Xuanling Mountain was guarded from the foot of the mountain to the top of the mountain by soldiers and strong men of the Xuanling royal family. Tisk tisk tisk, this Xuanling royal family is really impressive. After a while, at the foot of the mountain, a group of people appeared vaguely, and Zhu Jin couldn't help saying, the strength of these people seems to be a little wrong. The Poison sect master on the side glanced slightly at the many guards standing on the second side of the stairs and said something. I want to see what the King Xuanling wants to do. Let's go. After Shefu finished speaking, he also walked slightly towards Xuanling Mountain. The Medusa clan Snake Fu, Wanhua Pavilion Master, Poison sect Master and Burning Incense Pavilion Zujin went to the top of the mountain, but it was quite strange that King Xuanling even invited the Medusa clan. It's finally here. Not long after, the 4 of them slowly came to the top of the mountain. When I just came to the top of the mountain, I was immediately attracted by this huge scene. The top of Xuanling Mountain is a huge altar. The altar has a convex shape, and the 2 sides are gently uplifted in the middle. At the point where the convex shape is uplifted, the 9 members of the Dragon-Loving Legion are slowly guarding it. As for the most central part, with a black curtain of dozens of meters, as if covering something. Haha, Burning Incense Pavilion, Wanhua Pavilion, Poison Sect, Medusa Clan. The 4 of you, please come to the table. Just seeing the 4 of them appear, Wenzi, who was on the side, came slowly and smiled at the 4 of them. Seeing this, the 4 Zhu Jin didn't hesitate too much, and returned to their respective seats on both sides of the altar. Tisk tisk, looking at this battle, this King Xuanling has a lot of face. I am afraid that this time the Demon Extermination Ceremony has invited almost all the high-level officials of Zon Santian. As soon as he sat down, Zhu Jin couldn't help but said, this King Xuanling has a lot of ambition. I'm afraid this time it won't be for the sake of exterminating demons. The Great Demon Extermination Ceremony is not a child's play. Only by gathering the strength of our strong men can we completely obliterate the foreign evil race. So everyone, please stay safe and don't be impatient, and wait until the strong gather to wipe out the evil people from outside the territory. In the noisy crowd, King Xuanling wearing a golden robe, directly lifted into the air, and said to a group of strong people, King Xuanling is really a god. It's amazing to be able to capture the evil race from outside the realm. With the leadership of King Xuanling, our Xuanling continent will definitely prosper. The leaders of some small sects looked at King Xuanling and couldn't help but praise. How come I can't see through this guy's strength? At this time, the Poison sect master was slightly surprised. Even if she was at the level of 1-star fighting immortal perfection, she couldn't see through King Xuanling's strength. Let's wait. Zhu Jin also calmed down. And as the 4 quieted down, familiar figures slowly appeared in the altar. The people from Dan Valley are here. I don't know who said something, and suddenly a gorgeous old man slowly appeared on the altar. Pill Ghost Yi Qingtian, Zhu Jin gave a slight glance. Obviously, these sects were not too surprised to escape from the battle. Paul, anything can be done. The people from the ancient desolate palace are here too. The people of the puppet mansion. The people from Wanjiamen. Following the arrival of the people from Dangu, a big man who was enough to shake Zon Santian slowly came to this altar. Among these powerhouses, the weakest are also half immortals, and most of them are 1-star fighting immortals. At this time, Xuanling Mountain is really full of fighting immortals. It's almost time to start. King Xuanling looked at the countless powerhouses present, and couldn't help but laugh at the corners of his mouth. With so many immortal warriors, He Cho, the Xuanling king, couldn't form a truly powerful army. At this time, under the bulging altar of Xuanling Mountain, scenes of incomparably evil voices also sounded. Be careful, when the extraterritorial evil clan is killed, the entire Xuanzhen 3 days will be the world of our Xuanling royal family. Zhou Lao walked back and forth and couldn't help saying, the appearance here is quite mysterious. There is no trace in the darkness. Only when you can see clearly, 3 huge stone pillars slowly appear in the darkness, and the figures of Yan Kai, Mu Yingying and Kalin also appear one after another. On the stone pillar, drops of blood that are extremely evil continue to surround, tying the 3 of them to death. The writing is very slow, because the climax requires repeated deliberation. I don't dare to have any guarantees. I can only make a minimum of 3 changes in these days. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1077. Since everyone has arrived, then the Demon Extermination Ceremony should be ready to begin, right? Seeing more and more powerful people pouring into Xuanling Mountain, the pill ghost Yi Qingtian stood up directly and faced Zan Ling, who was in the center of the altar. Ling Wang asked, King Xuanling and Wen Zi, as well as the 9 members of the Dragon Addiction Legion, all stood on the raised altar. Hee, Brother Dongyi, don't worry. King Xuanling smiled slightly when he heard this. Since you are all here, then I won't sell anything. My King Xuanling announced. The Great Demon Extinguishing Ceremony has officially begun. And King Xuanling was not in the possession of Yi, but swept into the air and said to the many strong men under the altar. It's finally started. Everyone from the evil clan outside the territory gets it and kills it. The alien evil race has brought us too much pain, and the alien evil race must be completely wiped out. Some intermittent voices could not help but emerge. As the voice of King Xuanling fell, the entire altar was filled with extremely high enthusiasm, but some discerning powerhouses also discovered that in the center of the altar, under the black curtain surrounded by the 9 people of the Dragon Addiction Legion, there was an extremely high level of enthusiasm. It may be the highlight of this Demon Extermination Ceremony. Qin Tian, unveil the curtain. Seeing so many fiery gazes, King Xuanling didn't hesitate, and said a word directly to Qin Tian behind him. Okay. Qin Tian heard the words and agreed, and then a force of life and death emerged from his palm, and then he walked directly towards the black curtain. Crash! He raised his big hand gently, and the thing covered by the black curtain suddenly came into view of everyone. Su! The black curtain was lifted, and scenes of black gas slowly appeared in front of everyone. The black gas squirmed slightly like a silkworm, making people nauseous, but it contained an extremely tyrannical evil force. This is. With the disappearance of the black curtain, dozens of gigantic silver cages slowly appeared in everyone's pupils. Don't underestimate the dozens of silver cages, because the power of the alien races contained in them can easily corrupt a country. And in the silver giant cage, the shocking scenes tugged at the heartstrings of everyone present. In the silver cage, scenes of phantoms composed entirely of black gas slowly appeared, but the aura on their bodies was like the source of evil, which was disgusting from the heart. This is. Gorefiend? And Zhu Jin was also shocked by the sight in front of him, so he couldn't help saying. The Gorefiends can be said to be the old opponents of many powerhouses in Xuanzhen. In the previous battle between heaven and earth, the Gorefiends caused a devastating attack on them. Completely fell during the war of heaven and earth. I didn't expect it to be a blood demon clan. Such a damned evil thing should be completely obliterated. Some strong men couldn't help roaring, obviously remembering some sad things that the Gorefiend would do to them. I remember that the Gorefiends respected the Gorefiends, and then they were divided into left and right guards, followed by the 4 Gorefiends. You, the remnant of the Gorefiends, seem to have only 1 Gorefiend right guard? And Zhu Jin was also aware of the number of Gorefiends who were trapped in the silver cage at a glance, and hesitated. Although the number here is extremely large, this kind of ant is obviously not as important as the leader. Haha, what Zhu Jin said is. But if I say that the Gorefiend and other powerhouses have already been completely beheaded by me, can you be trusted? King Xuanling seemed to have expected Zhu Jin to make trouble, and said calmly. These days, the reason why I am collecting the troops of our Xuanling royal family is to mobilize all the forces to deal with them. But in the end, we still look down on the blood demon envoy and a few strong men under his command. Although we completely wiped them out, we, the Xuanling royal family, are all stained with a trace of evil. Xuanling King Zaidu said, "This guy is nonsense." At this time, Shefu below shook his head slightly, Obviously, King Xuanling's statement had no credibility at all. Could it be? So it is. When some strong men heard the words, they also nodded. Now that King Xuanling is powerful, in order to seek shelter, these weak and small forces can only nod and bow to the royal family of Xuanling. Susu. It's really a group of humble figures. Even if we fall here this time, the next time our army of evil tribes from outside the territory is overwhelmed, I will see how you deal with it. Next time, you won't be so lucky. When the surrounding people were discussing, in the silver cage, there was a tyrannical aura, and the huge evil shadow that vaguely reached the strength of a human half-immortal couldn't help it. Growled. Hee hee. Gorefiend Right Guard, you are still stubborn when you die? King Xuanling's pupils were filled with a chilling meaning, and he said to Gorefiend Right Guard. It's uncertain who will kill the deer. I want to see how powerful you Zan Santian, a mob, want to destroy us. Ha ha ha. Gorefiend Right Guard laughed wildly, and there was no trace of fear in his voice. Damn, this guy is too arrogant. King Xuanling, let's do it. Destroy these things completely. Some figures couldn't help but say angrily when they looked at such an arrogant foreigner. If there is any matter, we will discuss it later. The most urgent task now is to completely obliterate them first. King Xuanling looked at the evil spirit in the silver cage and said slightly. Okay, Zhu Jin and the others also knew the importance of the matter, and they agreed without any hesitation. Extraterritorial evil people are cunning by nature, and their vitality is extremely tenacious. Only extremely powerful power and flame power can completely obliterate them, so I want to ask Zhu Jin from Fenxiang Pavilion to fight. How about it? A playful smile. No problem. Zhu Jin was said by King Xuanling, and immediately got up and moved, and came to the altar in an instant. Since that's the case, then everyone, let's do it. Seeing that Zhu Jin didn't drag at all, King Xuanling said directly. Go! Gather the power of our entire mysterious 3 days, and completely obliterate these foreign evil races who have been killed by everyone. Seeing this, the powerhouses of other sects also took action one after another. Attacked by the remnants of the Gorefiends. Although my blood demons are exhausted now, they are not something that you mere ants can kill. Blood Guard, Gorefiend Right Guard said solemnly. Master Yue. Following the opening of the Gorefiend Yue, evil shadows said in the silver cage. Blast me. Let these righteous people see. If you want to kill us, you won't have to pay some price, but you can't. After the Gorefiend Right Guard finished speaking, a wave of incomparably strong evil waves suddenly emerged from the silver cage. No, these evil forces are going to explode. In the next moment, Zhu Jin's face became ugly. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1078. Self-destruction? Hearing Zhu Jin's words, the other powerhouses who were about to start also paused, obviously not knowing why. The power of the alien race is too evil. If it were us humans, I'm afraid no one at the same level would be able to beat them. And the self-destruction of the extraterritorial evil race is similar to the self-destruction of our human beings, but the power generated is much stronger than our human beings. So before they blow themselves up, kill them, Zhu Jin explained. Ha ha ha. Blast me. Even if my Bloodfiend clan fights to the last soldier, as long as the number of your strong human beings can be greatly reduced, then the war between heaven and earth will strike in the future, and only us will be victorious. He said very slyly. Not good. Gorefiend's Right Guard is also going to explode himself? The next moment, King Xuanling suddenly discovered something and said, Dragon-loving Legion, stop him for me. King Xuanling shouted, and Qin Tian's 9 people mobilized the power in their bodies and went to the Right Guard of the Gorefiend. Crash! The black evil power on the Gorefiend Right Guard slowly wriggled, and in an instant it was freed from the *** of the silver cage. King Xuanling, your ambitions are not small. But you're missing something. Dare to use my Gorefiend as a bargaining chip, you are the first. Gore Demon Formation Diagram. Xuanling King, give me death. Just after breaking out of the shackles of the silver cage, the Gorefiend Right Guard seemed to have gone mad, and directly in the palm of his hand, a monstrous evil force appeared. The flag of blasted away at King Xuanling. Damn madman. Seeing this, King Xuanling couldn't help roaring, but he didn't dare to take it lightly and kept stalemate with Gorefiend Right Guard. What the *** is this King Xuanling doing? And some strong people couldn't help but hesitate. Everyone, I'd better completely obliterate these extraterritorial evil races first. As for the Gorefiend right guard, let's leave it to King Xuanling. After Zhu Jin finished speaking, he and the other strong fighting immortals kept running the power in his body, and wiped away the evil races remaining in the silver cage. As for those blood guards who wanted to self-destruct, they turned into powder one by one under the attack of these immortal warriors. Under the raised altar, Mu Yingying woke up slightly. Where is this? Mu Yingying fell into a coma temporarily since she was caught by the Xuanling king. After all, the second use of the holy flame spirit was too heavy for her. This is the territory of the Xuanling royal family. We were arrested by King Xuanling, and the situation is not optimistic. When Mu Yingying's beautiful eyes just turned, a cold voice entered her ears. King Xuanling? Mu Yingying was shocked when she heard it, and her memory emerged, as if she remembered what happened at the beginning. Brother! The next moment, her beautiful eyes swept, but she saw Yan Kai beside her. It's just that the flames at this time are still under control. Don't make a sound. The power of this guy's body is too strong and has been controlled. If it wasn't for the power of holy flames in his body, I'm afraid he would have completely fallen. Kai Lin said, What exactly is King Xuanling arresting us for? Mu Yingying heard the words, but she was slightly puzzled. I saw it in ancient books. Using the blood power of the 10-colored swallowing python can greatly weaken the power of holy flame. I'm afraid that King Xuanling has ruined Zhoushang so much, in order to use my power to devour you. Kailin's voice was still full of icy coldness. What? At this moment, Mu Yingying's face finally became solemn. As holy flames, they had to constantly avoid being hunted by humans and other powerhouses as soon as they were born. They finally cultivated to a certain level of strength and could become human beings, but the identity of holy flames could not be escaped after all. Mixed joys and sorrows. But at this moment, Mu Yingying shook her head slightly, not even a little bit afraid, but a man with a heavy ruler on his back faintly appeared in her heart. At every critical juncture, as long as this person is there, Mu Yingying's heart will be extremely quiet, and she also has a very fulfilling sense of security. Why are you not afraid at all? Kai Lin seemed to have noticed Mu Yingying's calm state of mind and couldn't help asking. He will come to save us. But Mu Yingying raised her head slightly, looked into the bottomless distance in the darkness, and said, Yes, yes. Kailin naturally knew what Mu Yingying said, but she didn't ask any further. I'm sorry. The next moment, Mu Yingying bowed her head slightly and apologized to Kailin. Her words were extremely sincere. It's okay, no matter what he decides, I will support him. Kai Lin also knew why Mu Yingying apologized and said slightly, Really? Mu Yingying was slightly surprised when she heard the words. After all, Mu Yingying was still reluctant to give up on Xiao Yan. Yes. Kailin nodded slightly. That's good. Mu Yingying heard the words, but her heart couldn't help but warm, and some tricks came to her mind. Now, let's take care of ourselves first. The power of the Xuanling royal family, even I can't handle it, even if Xiao Yan came here. Kai Lin couldn't help shaking her head. I know that the Xuanling royal family is too powerful, and I don't want him to come. But I believe that he will definitely come. Mu Yingying smiled. It's a blessing for him to have such a good wife as you. But I won't admit defeat. Mu Yingying also laughed. Kailin seemed to want to say something, but she didn't say anything. It was easier for him, but the one named Zuner might not be so simple. After the two of them had finished their conversation, it was peaceful here. Asshole. What a strong fluctuation. While King Xuanling continued to deal with the Gorefiend right guard, he discovered that this guy's strength could even vaguely threaten him. You are a genuine one-star Do Xian consummation. If you are threatened by this guy, how can you save your face? Everyone, let's take action together and kill this demon. Zhu Jin said as the stronger ones in the Gorefiend were wiped out by these immortal warriors one by one. Although there is a deep grievance with the Xuanling royal family, in the face of foreign evil clans, they can only temporarily join forces. Okay. Dan Gui Yi Qingtian, Wanjiamen and other super sects heard the words, nodded slightly, and went directly to the Gorefiend right guard dam. The Gorefiend right guard saw this. He was besieged by the 10 great fighting immortals for a while, and he knew that today, no matter what, it was a place where he could not escape. A group of ants actually want to support a guy with a human face and a beast heart. A dignified human being is nothing but a wolf in sheep's clothing. Die. As soon as the words fell, the The flag on the palm of the right guard of the Gorfiend suddenly shattered, and waves of majestic evil power emerged. Join us together and kill him. This formation is too powerful. If you add his power, I'm afraid this place will turn into a wasteland in an instant. King Xuanling said, "Okay." When the other powerhouses heard the words, they nodded in succession, and then no longer had any reservations. The powerful force of fighting immortals directly surrounded the Gorfiend's right guard. "Don't kill him. This guy has a high status among the evil races outside the realm, so we can ask for some information." Zhu Jin just opened his mouth, but was directly obliterated by the Xuanling king. "Let me do it." The next moment, King Xuanling ignored Zhu Jin's words, and a rather delicate matching sword appeared in his palm, with extremely fast speed, and stabbed directly at the body of the Gorfiend right guard. Gululu. With King Xuanling's blow, the Gorfiend right guard instantly turned into a pile of foam and dissipated in this world. At that time, the entire Gorfiend clan will be wiped out. Conspiracy is the most important thing, and the Great Demon Extinguishing Ceremony is simply taken over. No more today. Tomorrow should be the climax. End of this chapter. Continuing from the previous episode 1079. King Xuanling, what are you doing? Seeing this sudden change, Zhu Jin couldn't help crying. The Gorfiend right guard is already under their cooperation and has no fighting power, but the Xuanling king is so ruthless and directly obliterated it completely, not to mention that he can get some useful information from the Gorfiend right guard mouth. King Xuanling made it clear that he was against himself. However, the Gorfiend right guard is more or less aware of the cooperation between the Xuanling king and the Gorfiend, so for the public and private, the Xuanling king will not give the Gorfiend right guard any chance to live. Today is the Great Demon Extermination Ceremony, and it is bound to wipe out the Gorfiends completely. How can we leave troubles later? And do you think the Gorfiends will betray their alien race so easily? If you leave them behind, you might be attacked by other evil races from outside the realm in the future. Can you afford that responsibility? King Xuanling said eloquently. Bastard. Zhu Jin frowned, and his anger had already emerged slightly. Hoo. This time, the Gorfiends should have completely fallen, right? Said Yi Qingtian, the pill ghost beside him. Not only the pill ghost Yi Qingtian had guesses, but other immortal warriors also had guesses. After all, it only takes immortal warriors to obliterate the evil race from outside the realm. Therefore, the so-called Demon Extermination Ceremony of the Xuanling king may not only be as simple as killing the Gorfiends. Since the Demon Extermination Ceremony is over, it's time for me to leave. Seeing that the Gorfiends were all wiped out, some super sect powerhouses said, obviously they had a premonition that Xuanling king's some plans are just not broken. Hee, everyone, don't worry, there is still a good show waiting for you, Yippen. Wouldn't it be a pity to leave like this? And King Xuanling looked at the leaders of several super sects headed by the ancient desolate hall and smiled slightly. Road. King Xuanling had been preparing for today's plan for a long time, so how could King Xuanling let these strong men leave easily? Oh, a good show? Could it be? After hearing the words, the master of the ancient desolate palace glanced at the positions of Zhu Jin and the others. However, in the next moment, King Xuanling's voice to retain many strong men just fell, and his eyes will be turned to Zhu Jin everyone. The Gorfiends have been completely wiped out, but it's time to understand the grievances between our Xuanling royal family and you Burning Incense Pavilion and the Medusa family. You Burning Incense Pavilion obliterated our Xuanling royal family's disciples who participated in the sect competition, and even killed my royal prince. After a while, an invisible and tyrannical force emerged from King Xuanling. 1-star fighting immortal is complete? How is that possible? Seeing the tyrannical aura that suddenly erupted from King Xuanling's body, even Zhu Jin, his pupils couldn't help shrinking tightly. It can be said that the cultivation of Do Xian is as difficult as reaching the sky. Even a small level is enough to consume a lot of time. This King Xuanling can be called Do Xian from the peak of Do Di. It can be called a unique talent. However, King Xuanling is not the first stage of 1-star fighting immortal or even the middle stage of 1-star fighting immortal, but a genuine 1-star fighting immortal consummation. All irrelevant powerhouses, please step aside. This is a personal grievance between our Xuanling royal family and them. If it is mixed, they will be dealt with together. King Xuanling said slightly, with an undeniable evil in his voice. Hoo, It seems that the four forces of Fenxiang Pavilion are in trouble this time. King Xuanling is now a complete strength of 1-star fighting immortals, plus Qin Tian is also a fighting immortal, and there are many powerhouses in the dragon-loving army. I'm afraid that these four alliances do not have much chance of winning. Fortunately, we changed our countermeasures at 0 hour and didn't go with them. Otherwise, the current situation would be a little overwhelming. The palace master of the puppet palace said in a deep voice in his heart. Humph. King Xuanling, you are nothing but nonsense. Your Xuanling royal family colluded with the foreign evil clan, but now you are using the foreign evil clan as a bargaining chip without authorization. It's unfortunate for your family to have a scum like you in your Xuanling royal family. Furthermore, in the sect competition, but countless people clearly saw the evil power in your Xuanling royal family disciples. What else can you say? Zhu Jin didn't seem to be afraid, and did not panic at all. Road. Ha ha ha. Full of nonsense. No matter what you say today, your four sects cannot escape death. King Xuanling's body rose slightly into the air, and a wave of fearful power slowly spread out. Joke. Don't you know how many bad things your Xuanling royal family has done secretly? Today is the day when our four sects jointly attacked your Xuanling royal family. Not long after, the snake-shaped scepter of Shefu hit the air heavily, and an indescribable force of venom emerged. Dragon-loving Legion, capture Shefu and Zujin for me, the sect master of Poison Sect, leave it to me. King Xuanling, who was in the air, said directly to the 9 members of the Dragon-loving Legion who were guarding the altar below. Okay. Qin Tian stood in front of the team and directly agreed. The 8 of you are responsible for stopping Dushan Zujin, and Zhou Lao, you are responsible for stopping Banqian Shefu. As for the pavilion master of Wanhua Pavilion, leave it to me. Under Qin Tian's pupils, there is a trace of blood that is extremely obscure. This kind of blood is very similar to the soul ball on King Xuanling, but I don't know if there is any connection between the two. Why does this Qin Tian and the people from the Dragon Addiction Legion seem to have changed their temperament? They weren't like this in the past. Zhu Jin looked at the Qin Tian who arranged the crowd without any movement, and the expressions of the 6 members of the Dragon Addiction Legion were like a pool of stagnant water. He always felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't say it. Come, do it. The 4 Zhu Jin looked at each other and said immediately. At this moment, the one standing here can be regarded as the top power of the entire Xuanzhen Santian, so everyone in Zujin is also clear that if they lose, the 4 allied forces will only die. So before they find out the details of the Xuanling royal family link to www.novelmtl.com they will not easily summon the coalition forces. After all, once they are summoned, it is time for the real life and death. Should we do it? And stood quietly by the side, watching the Xuanling royal family and the 4 Zhu Jin are so arguing, the Dan Gui and the ancient desolate hall next to them, slowly talking with their soul power. The 8 sects that promised to burn the incense pavilion before should not regret it. Now we can only see the situation first. If it's a critical moment, you must do it. Although we can't stand on the bright side and be the enemy of the Xuanling royal family for the sake of our respective sects, but after all, we promised Zhu Jin and the others in advance. If Zhu Jin and the others are defeated, according to King Xuanling's temperament, they will definitely not let them go. When all 4 of their sects are destroyed, Zhan Tianshan will be able to fight against them, but there are very few sects. I'm afraid it won't be long. It's our turn, Dan Gui analyzed. If they win, then everything is easy to say. If they want to lose, they must take action. Otherwise, the consequences can be described as, said Zhu Zhenxian of Wanjiamen at this time. All the super sect powerhouses nodded at the same time, and then looked at the battle in the sky. In the sky, incomparably tyrannical battle circles spread out slowly. Some people actually said that I wrote it and then developed it separately. Now I write it every morning, send it at noon, then write it after lunch, and send it in the afternoon, all of which are sent on the same day as the code. I have been sitting in front of the computer all day to code, so it's not like what you said, okay? End of this chapter.